that's still,
What's that road that they cut right up, going down your street? Right up over the knoll.
on Nelson Street or Sewell?
Yeah.
Nelson, they got a building going behind my shop.
Yeah, yeah, well, supposedly, right?
I think it's all but passed. You good?
Testing 1, 2, 3. How they do? You're liking this.
Going back on Zoom.
Why we can't use the other one? What's going on over there?
They ended it.
Huh?
It's over.
I know, but why are they doing it on a Tuesday? Cause they argue with Kathy too much?
I think we're good to go. She's ready. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'd like to call the planning board meeting for Tuesday, July 20th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to open the,
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting minutes, approval of June 15, 2021. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For public hearings, we got to continue into definitive subdivision, King Meadow Farm, Katy Lane, King Meadow Development. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81T, the Town of Groveland Subdivision Rules and Regulations, and Article 14 of the Groveland General Bylaws, to hear an application requested of the 9-lot subdivision plan associated with stormwater management and a land disturbance permit. Site is located on residential R2 zoning district. Proposal subdivision is located on King Street in Groveland. Assessors map 26, parcel 13, and map 26, parcel 13F. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for King Meadow Farm, Katy Lane definitive subdivision?
I'll open it.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So, we got a peer review letter submitted with a third comment letter this afternoon. Since there is an outstanding issue, the applicant has requested to continue to the 2nd of August and allow time for them to make updates to provide for TEC for confirm the items that have been addressed. Do we have a motion to continue?
I will continue that.
We have a second.
Second.
All-
Mr. Chair, may I say continue to August 17th,
Oh, I thought it said
17th.
second.
please?
17th of August.
17th it is.
So I have a motion for the 17th?
17th?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have a continued Aquifer Protection Overlay Special Permit for 929, 931 Salem Street. ANFEH LLC, Co. Fadi Isa, pursuant to Groveland zoning bylaw section 50-6.2, to hear the application requested of a new 7250 square foot building and a convenience store and automotive repair shop installation for 4 automotive dispensing pumps with canopies and 2 fuel storage tanks. The site is located in Industrial Zone 1 Aquifer, Assessors Map 49, Parcel 4. Do I have a motion to open?
I have, make a motion to open.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed? So on this, the application submitted requested materials, which, Rebecca, you're gonna go over?
He,
For the Aquifer special permit?
Yeah. No? Okay.
no, he could,
TEC provided an estimate review and accepted, which has been accepted by the applicant. TEC will review and have comments for the August 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion for the public hearing for 929-931 Salem Street Aquifer Special Permit for August 3rd?
I'll second that for you.
Do I have a motion to?
I'll motion it that, yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, from our last Zoom meeting, we have a continued 301 Main Street, Robert Williams of Star Construction, pursuant to Groveland zoning bylaw, section 50-13, site plan review, and section 50-9.4, parking requirements. There's a special permit requested for the use of the building for a corporate office, a showroom, for an area of product samples, storage for equipment, miscellaneous materials, and garage access to load and unload vehicles. This site is located in Business Zoning District. The proposed project is located at 301 Main Street in Groveland, Assessors Map 10, Parcel 001. Do I have a motion to open the hearing for 301 Main Street Site Plan Review and Parking Reduction Special Permit?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'll open.
I just wanna apologize to them for last meeting, to put you on short notice, to, cancel that,
Happens.
yeah, I know, but, we didn't have a quorum, we were gonna run out of a quorum, so,
No, I understood.
yeah, so, but anyway,
This is
so,
301.
but thank you for being patient, so.
So, Bob Williams, if you want to step up to the podium and give an overview of what you propose.
So I'm Bob Williams. I own and operate Star Construction Company. We're a small residential remodeling company. I have a couple of guys and a couple of trucks, but right now I don't have a building to store my equipment or to operate out of. And we're looking to change that. The opportunity came about to make a building that's been somewhat problematic into something that's useful, maybe get it off of you guys' hands once and for all. And we're looking to be within that building. We're not looking to utilize any of the space beyond the outside of the building. But basically, we're looking to take the glass area and make it a little bit of a showroom so that we can entertain our clients to go through final product review and so forth on their projects. Do my books, keep my affairs in order, have a place to put a few pieces of equipment and operate out. We've submitted the plans to basically everything that we're gonna do is going to be compliant with code and bring it up to snuff as far as the building codes go, with changing the entry into the front of the building with a handicap accessibility grade and 3-foot door. The inside of the building would have a dividing wall that would separate the storage area from the office area, which would be concrete block. We're gonna put in a handicapped accessible bathroom so that it's usable for everybody. And that's pretty much the overview on it.
Do you have plans? Is it the
Yeah,
same
right. Yeah.
plan set?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank Rebecca for that. She was kind enough to-
You just have one.
So this is an existing building that you're just gonna rehab and just put for your own purposes?
Some for my own purpose.
No, that's fine, I'm just.
John,
Yeah, this is the gas station,
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
gas station next to the post
The
office,
old
right?
lady.
Yeah.
So block is gonna be a fire separation?
Yeah.
Anything on the outside of the building? Are you gonna?
Clean up. Replace some broken glass. We've got to turn around and give it a little dress up, a little cosmetic, but nothing that is going to be major construction or anything. Maybe point some brick, put a coat of paint.
Personally, I like to see the entrance, be, addressed in and out. It's pretty tough right now with the post office, and then you having another business there to get in and out right now, so, that's my concern.
So do you have a flow of cars, do you know, that's gonna
We
be?
have 2 vehicles. We'll be in the morning before anybody gets there and out of there, basically. We're back at the end of the day.
So all you're saying is all you're looking for is 2 spots, and then, residential, this is not gonna be like knocking on any doors, not gonna be traffic.
No.
This is just
We're not
gonna be your
looking
two
at that.
vehicles just to go in and out,
And if I've got a
establish your
client
business.
that wants to come in and do the paperwork, go through samples, it'll be a one-of-a situation. I probably would spend more time there than anybody else, just trying to push paper and keep tabs on things.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't this loan zone for like for 5 parking spots?
I believe the total number is 9 or 7. I
Okay,
can't
so what
remember,
I'm saying
yeah.
to you is regardless if somebody comes in, there's ample.
Here's the post office, here's his building, here's the parking. There's still a curb cut from Mass DOT that to contend with.
That's what I'm addressing, right? That's what I was saying.
Can you see that?
I can see, yeah.
That just, maybe that's just a quick, just a little. Another page or not?
Yeah, it's good paper.
No, it's just-
Okay, no problem.
Looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
It looks good, looks better than,
I mean, definitely looks better, but
here's-
I'm just concerned about traffic, traffic flow right now, in and out.
Well, let's put it this way, I'm not really changing the traffic flow at all. I mean, if I'm having 2 vehicles that get in there before the traffic starts, and 2 vehicles come in at the end of the day.
Yeah, but you might have a customer come in and wants to stop in and sees you, I mean, you're gonna have a showroom, you're gonna have stuff in your windows, and so they drive by and they wanna swing in. And all of a sudden they try to cut in and the light's red, it backs up all the other traffic. It's just like the post office is the same way. People wanna try to get into the post office and the light is red, you can't turn in. I mean, it's backed up. So that's why we went with the curb cut for the state and everything to try to get a 2-way traffic flow through there. That's all. I mean, I think this is great for the town and everything else. It's just the traffic flow out in front of Main Street and School Street.
so if I remember correctly, when we were doing this for the restaurant, the curb cut issue came up.
Yep.
And I believe with Rebecca's help, you guys are almost there with the curb cut. They just weren't gonna approve a curb cut for somebody that's a vacant building. Am I correct?
They would need a proposal.
To go ahead and, either grant it or deny the curb
This is the
cut.
proposal that we're
This is
looking
the
for.
proposal.
So, all the ducks are in a row, it just seems like you just gotta apply for that curb cut, and everything else should be right in order.
That's the one hurdle, and like Bob says, it does make sense. Once you put the signs up, there could be somebody that wants to come in, whether or not you're there or not,
I agree,
so.
no, I'm not gonna argue that, no.
No, I'm not,
No, and I'm not,
trying to, you know.
I'm not taking,
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I
offense,
think it's,
you know.
I mean, I've seen your work, you do a great job, honest, and I'm just concerned about the flow of traffic out front of the post office and everything else.
so you,
And the parking lot's a mess, you can't even, you bottom out your car when you go in. I hope
Right.
that's gonna be fixed,
I-
you know, he hasn't done anything to help the property at all, since he owned it, so, that's fine, but.
well, I'm just the renter.
I know you,
You know,
yes,
so,
yes. But I mean,
you're asking me for things that are beyond my control at this
But
point.
I mean, if
But
the owner wants to do it, he should be taking care of the property and kinda help it out right now to make it look like.
So it
he
sounds
wants
like
something.
what I'm going to propose is that we get a vote yea or nay based on we can get the curb cut addressed.
It sounds that way.
Yes.
mean,
I don't
yeah,
think we could do
obviously, right, we want you to have your building, we want to show that it succeeds. But there is that one issue with the curb cut, and we just addressed that as long as now there's a proposal, then we can move forward to get that done. You now made the proposal, so now we gotta work on getting that curb cut.
Curb cut.
Once that's done, his issue with the flow will definitely,
Go away.
there you go.
Exactly.
All right, but that's fine.
Yep.
John,
So
do we-
what's our next step?
I think
Just
we,
so I'm
I think you gotta apply to Mass DOT.
Do we have to apply to Mass DOT for the curb cut alteration?
that's correct.
Okay.
And I think with that being done, John, do you have any input on this?
Not on the curb cut. I mean, I think that property has been problematic in terms of the traffic flow, so to have a business go there that has a relatively minimal traffic flow seems like a pretty good idea, so there's a limited opportunity for that too, so I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a good application for
Right,
it.
like I said, there are plenty of parking spots that he's allocated for,
Right.
so that's not an issue in that
Yeah,
case.
I'm not worried about the parking inside or anything.
It's just
I'm
going in and out.
I'm just worried about the traffic flowing in and out, that's all.
Right, oh, I can understand.
Yep. And, Brad, I think somebody else would like to speak about the,
I didn't know if Mr. Williams knew that when this property was, was purchased from the previous owner, Mrs. Delafleur, and then the state put the curving right across. Now, the entryway that's going in and out of there is actually handicap accessible
Donnie.
side.
Donnie,
Can
can
you
you
just
stand
stand
up
up and state your name, please?
address, please, first?
So basically, when they did this sidewalk around here, this was only supposed to be an access, high and low spot for handicap accessibility to the sidewalk. There was no access made for here. Formerly, they used to use the people next door driveway.
Yeah, the insurance, yeah.
You're probably familiar with that. And, you know, it got to the point where there was too much traffic going in and out. But the state back then was adamant that they weren't gonna make an opening there because of the traffic lights. I was on the Board of Selectmen back when
Okay.
this went on. So I'm not sure that they're gonna allow that. You know, but hopefully they will.
Hopefully.
mean,
I hope they do allow it.
Yes.
I mean, that would be the only hurdle that we have, and then, you know, with that being said, we could probably vote on this on August 3rd
Absolutely, yeah.
with the, you know, with the contingency about the
We-
curb cut.
We had tried to get them to move the traffic lights back, further back, so there was gonna be a way that they could have put a
Yeah.
cut in, but they went where they went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
guess,
just-
I guess my concern is, the post office has always been there, it's always been continuing to operate, and they would've had to have access in there. So, this just means that the access would've had to stay anyhow, even if they had modified the original curb cut.
Actually, the post office was gonna move out.
Correct,
Yes. They were gonna build a new building
They-
down,
correct.
down in the industrial park.
Or
But
they
that
were
never
gonna-
happened.
Or they were gonna go to Georgetown, and
right.
not use that building at all.
Well, this, right now, mass state regs, or federal state regs say every town has to have a post office. That's why they did not move to out of town right now.
But he is right, they've created, you know, a pre-existing condition where the entrance is being used, so I don't know how they can deny the use of it if it's already being allowed.
I think the insurance company next door is taking a lot of the flow through
It
his
was.
parking
No, but
area.
they used to allow that. I mean, that used to be the thing, you'd go in their driveway and you'd come out the other one.
Right.
Back when it was a gas station.
And I think, Rebecca, I forget the guy's name.
Yes, Brian Canal
Brian.
submitted a letter, and I can read that into record when the board's ready.
Okay. Do you wanna, why don't we read the letter now so they kinda have an idea of if that's okay?
So this is from Brian Canal, letter from Groveland Square, Norwood Insurance regarding 301 Main Street. Dear Town of Groveland Planning Board, I am writing in regards to the most recent proposed project at 301 Main Street. Unfortunately, I cannot be in attendance and would like to provide this as my feedback for the public hearing. On behalf of Groveland Square LLC, owner of 291 and 293 Main Street, and Norwood Insurance, occupant of 293 Main Street, we are in opposition to any project that allows for the former Getty Gas Station at 301 Main Street to be occupied, as it shares the same ingress-egress of 299 Main Street, which is occupied by the United States Post Office, which at its best is very limited access and at its worst a dangerous driveway. As I've mentioned in past proposals, the site was taken by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for $618,000 of taxpayer money to decommission the building in its entirety, and in the appraisal that valued this land taking, it states as follows. After the taking, the only one allowed to access either one of those properties, gas station or post office, will be the postal workers. Eventually, at the termination of the postal service use, the access to these parcels will be totally restricted, thereby making the remainder of the land the equivalent of a landlocked parcel. I know that in practice, this was never enforced as customers continue to use the ingress egress to enter the post office, but the intent of the state's view of this access is clear that this would not be used by those customers and much less for another business entity to reconstitute the property of the gas station, which is why our state taxpayers' money paid the prior owner due to rendering the property a landlocked, severely limited parcel. Also, if this is deemed either a special permit, I would cite the Groveland zoning bylaw, section 14.6.1B, special permit criteria. Special permits shall be granted that the adverse effects of the proposed use will not outweigh its beneficial impacts to the town or the neighborhood. The determination shall include consideration of each of the following: B, traffic flow and safety, including parking and loading. With all due respect to the businesses applying, I do not see how this business's benefit will outweigh the potential traffic flow, safety, and parking in an already stressed property, dangerous intersection, and a square that already has extremely limited parking today with many vacancies. This will only get worse as some of those businesses return to Elm Square. As such, we are opposed as the direct abutter to the property. Thank you for your time, and sorry we could not attend in person. Sincerely, Brian Cannell.
Now, do we have any documentation from the state that says, you know, there's no use on that building? It's just an intended from him, right?
That was a document that they had provided in the past in terms of their appraisal, and it was never necessarily clear exactly what the intent was. And when we inquired with Mass DOT, they decided that they did not want to answer and wanted the board to make a determination before reviewing any proposal for an additional use. And that was from the Paul Stedman District 4 Highway.
If I'm mistaken, there was supposed to be a restaurant going in there, and then they did this whole survey.
I
with
believe
the-
it went to the zoning board and got denied.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it comes back to the fact that they only made that opening for handicap access back when they did the bridge project. There was no access for the post office to, you know, that driveway was not the post office driveway. That was Norwood Insurance's property.
Correct.
That, you know, they had every right to just say, okay, uncle, you know, I can't keep having these cars blocking my business and everything else. So they really left this property with no access.
So that's why
But they're already operating with an access, so I, you know, again,
it's a rock and a hard place.
I mean, for him to have two cars going in and out,
I think the impact is very low, and I like the idea of a business in town. more
Well, I
business
think
in town.
the negative impact, which nobody talks about, is to let that building continually go to seed and end up being more of a hazard to the river and the waterway if nothing is done, or to demolish it, which would create even a larger hazard. But the other thing that's interesting to me is if this property was not intended to be used, there is no legal documentation that said it was sold for that purpose, and that was the clarification. So it's all speculation at this point. So they've left a bunch of people between a rock and a hard spot, and the only one that really made out was the original owner,
For 600,000
who spoofed everybody in both directions. One of the things that could be done to help the insurance company would be to relocate the mailbox that is their bone of contention, which would be a simple move on that property. If it didn't end up on their side of the driveway, people won't stop there to get out, put the mail in, and that frees up the flow for him and his traffic. He's not going to think that's a reasonable substitution for what we're requesting, I'm afraid, which is his opinion, and he's entitled to it. We're just trying to make something that's a little more useful out of something that exists and bring back some revitalization and some more aesthetics to the downtown area. The overgrowth that's going on there now is just blocking vision and traffic going to the bridge and coming from the bridge. If we had some even minimal lighting for nighttime to help traffic and so forth, we thought it would be a plus, quite honestly. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But, you know, my case is that I'm more than happy to go to see the DOT about doing the curb cut. If we hit a no, we still have a problem property on our hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what's the next move in that case?
Right.
Do we make a concession? And if that's the case, why don't we just cut to the chase and get to a point now?
Right.
There was a traffic study done as well, and there was plenty of parking off-site. We don't have, do you have that information?
That was the information for the restaurant, so they did provide a traffic study and also, a dedication of where those parking spots were
Yeah,
available.
that was up in the public parking spot. They had to walk probably almost a quarter of a mile or half a mile up
Is that the
top.
plumbing
Well, what about a,
company?
No, what is-
across,
what's it-
across
across
from,
from
Doc's office, Dr. Doc's office.
Light department.
the
By
light
light
department?
Or the
yes.
water department. yeah.
Water, yeah, yeah, exactly, that's where they were.
On the waterfront though, across from the diner and Applied Graphics, is there public parking?
There is not.
No.
Greg Stock has probably 7 parking spaces for that big building.
Yes,
We have probably 34 parking spaces on Applied Graphics property.
Out-
But it's
out
all
back.
for the tenants.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, although they just use it,
right.
but it's not, I mean, they can have their car towed, it's okay too. Keep the towing companies busy. But, I mean, on their spot there, what did you say, there were 9 actual parking spaces?
There were 9 dedicated for the post office.
What if you worked out something, you know, with him, he needs 2. You've got all these people that work in the center of town that are taking up all the parking spaces that are in the center of town. I know the hairdresser in the back, I think it's, Family Affair, they used to park over in the property, over by where the post office is out back, and things like that. I mean, maybe you could move some of the spaces out of there with the employees, work something out here. I mean,
Well, I mean, if Family Affairs worried about parking, employees should park up
no, I'm just
in
saying.
the
but-
public parking, and
Correct.
then they have to
Yeah,
walk
but,
down.
I mean, they were trying to, you know, if those people open in the square, I mean, you've now got, what is it, the stone place in the corner?
Yes,
You know, I mean, a lot of the places are back in business now.
yeah,
So, I know, Rebecca was trying to find parking around the area down there and try and, you know, get it on a plan. Just thinking if they cleaned up that property, I mean, maybe the awning on the front doesn't.
Well, we're, you know, I don't think the awning is covered in the parking area. We'd probably be using that for our vehicles, so we're not taking up any more additional parking as well. But I mean, at the same time,
The problem though is the access.
is still the access in and out.
that's.
Yeah, it
If it
doesn't
was
seem.
your,
That's what I said at first, I have no issues with the building itself, what he's trying to do there, the parking.
It's the in and out. It's not the
access, in and
parking,
out.
it's the
It's not-
question, right.
it's the in and out access, I mean, I'd like to see.
Is
you go
that
to
property
DOT.
allowed to use that access or not? Because what she read sounded like they were not.
it sounds like the
Technically.
Norwood Insurance, they,
It never was supposed to be there as a driveway,
Right,
from what the plan was on the bridge. It was a ADA ramp up onto the sidewalk and the other way. That's why it's kind of got the ramps going both ways out of it. And they were gonna have the walkway coming out. But they changed around where all the lights were going and everything else, so it really didn't fall in line with any of the lights.
if MassDOT and Chimbro demoed the building, then we wouldn't be having this discussion.
MassDOT didn't buy the whole building, that's the problem. They bought the strip that they
The
needed
third bay,
for the access for the bridge.
for the curve,
Because
the
there
curve
was
of the
other
bridge.
issues with the property, the state didn't wanna own the issues. That's why they didn't buy the whole property.
anybody else, public?
Hi, my name is Zong Yang. I'm the 301 Main Street owner. So Mass DOT made very clear for me and for everyone is that they want the local town approve what they use. Then they can work with me to say what kind of improvement that we should make to make it usable for this site. So they need local town to approve what they use first. Then they say what traffic impact will be, then what's improvement need to be. So I asked the board, that means to give a chance, that means to approve under the condition of the Mass DOT approval. Then they will work with me, we will improve the the entry part. I mean, to see whatever we need to do to make it better for everyone.
Okay, well,
we're on the same path you are, so
yeah,
I think
so
what we'll do is,
They were not concerned.
we're not gonna approve it
anything
until we
you
find out
approve,
what
yeah.
Mass DOT's gonna say, so.
They,
I
they,
mean,
they wanted the town approved user first under the condition of
No.
their approval.
No, we're not.
Because
We're
they
not
don't
gonna
know.
vote on it.
Approve
they don't know.
the use of conditions
Yeah.
before Mass DOT gives our, their recommendations.
That's,
so.
they make it very clear, means that they need a local town approve under the condition of their permission, because they don't know what use, they don't know.
so I think what we'll do is we'll move this to the August 3rd for a vote.
Brad, can I make a friendly suggestion?
Go ahead, Bob.
That we get some kind of documentation that is a favorable plan before the board, provided that we can work with the DOT to address the access issue.
I mean, we're all approval of you having the property and doing what you want with it, that ain't the issue. Right, we all agree on that part of it. It's just,
But you can't grant approval until you get the DOT situation.
right.
You can enter the
DOT
condition, right? You
The
can
DOT
do.
is looking for us to have a local person ready to go in there before they wanna deal with us. So if we can at least get it documented that the board is looking upon this plan favorably, provided the DOT will come to the table with us, that may be a ticket to open the door to the DOT to get this thing moving.
So I think at this point, the board accepts the plan,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but we're still not gonna vote it on it until next
No, I'm
week.
not asking for a vote.
But that gives you time to contact Mass DOT and let them know what you're doing and tell them.
Postpone it to the 13th, give them more time.
No, I don't think they need more time. I
Okay.
think you're close to a vote, but any way we do it, if the board, if my members of the board are in favor of this project, you're still going to have Mass DOT as a hangup. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
Only because it just isn't going to house your 2 work vans and that's it. So you're making the ability of people to swing in and stop by and use it as a business, what the intended use is for. You're using it for your remodeling business to enhance it. And like Bob says, people are gonna see the sign and they're gonna swing in whether you're there or not.
I agree,
So-
but at the same time, the DOT doesn't want to entertain even talking about the curb cut so that they know there's something reasonable before the board, is the information that I was getting.
They
So,
made it
Well-
very clear, they wanted the town approve the use under the condition of their approval.
You just gave us very clear what you gotta do, so submit this plan to the Mass DOT and see what they say.
No,
Don't
they-
argue with us.
No, they were not concerned because the town, local town is not approved.
We've been
They
around
were-
this,
they were
we've
not
been around this
concerned anything.
100 times,
We have been around this a lot, so
so,
Bob, I would submit this plan
the DOT,
yes.
and tell them.
Well,
Just the way, yeah,
that's fine.
exactly.
Well, the rules are the rules, and.
I don't know, I would-
Again, all I'm asking for is that we have some kind of documentation in this meeting that the plan is generally favorable, looked upon
Absolutely.
favorable. The question is,
We
we
can't,
need
we
DOT's
can't
approval
afford, we
to
can't
make-
really
to
vote
make
on
that-
it because, but,
And we can't vote until that happens.
And that gives us a little time, and that gives you a little time as well.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right? Anybody else for comment?
Just the one other thing, if he's worried about having a valid question to the DOT, the post office and the gas station are one property. Post office operator, they need access to. So there is already some pre-existing reason to go for it.
Thank you.
That's good to know.
Okay, so what are we gonna,
Continuing hearing.
we're gonna continue this for August 3rd.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to continue the hearing to August 3rd.
Yeah, let's
Second.
that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca, do you have anything?
Yep, I just have a couple of administrative items, so I need a final signature on 833 Salem. I know Brad can't sign, so John, if you could sign for the lot line adjustment. The owner's been waiting since we approved it back. You were there to vote on it.
Was that the tower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a simple lot
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
was already
that's
approved.
fine.
It's just a lot line adjustment, and you were there for the actual vote itself.
Sure.
So, but, just because I feel bad they're holding up sale or
Yeah, yeah.
potential sale.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Then the other thing is along those lines is that the Southern Essex Registry of Deeds has a annual list that needs to be signed by all of you. So we just need to get that signed so that we can submit that for their records that you're authorized to sign. And then
sign nothing.
the last thing is just for the ethics certification. So Wally's not here, so he needs to update his. Brad just provided me his. And Jim, yours will expire on September 30th of 2021, so we'll need an updated certificate for you.
We asked Wally for that 2 meetings ago. If he doesn't wanna apply, then, tell him he's out of here, I'm sorry, you know?
So
Yeah, it's,
we'll see, but I just wanted to update that for the clerk and make sure that we all knew that the ethics certifications are due. And we'll get signatures on this after the meeting, and I'm all set.
I would just like to congratulate Rebecca on a bunch of grants that she got. Would you like to, I don't have them in front of me, would you like to speak about them? I know you're not that kind of a person, but
There'll be more to report later, but we did receive a Share Streets grant for some pedestrian improvements in the Elm Square, specifically in front of Stark and Gronk, and Sweet Paws for some pedestrian connectivity to the sidewalk that's currently in existence on Merrimack, along the Merrimack River on Main Street, and then also for some improvements to the sidewalk on Main Street in front of the current businesses where there's a lag, and then also additional crosswalk improvements up by TD Bank to connect the sidewalk up to the Pines Recreational Center. So, some progress.
great
We're
job.
excited.
All right, so is that it? Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I will make a motion to close the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think there's anyone opposed. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
You come out now.